Welcome back to Chat with the Chief. I am your host, Chief Rex Troche, joined by Officer Trip Schwenk, a longtime friend, over 20 years. He's been with the Sarasota Police Department for
24 years.
24 years now. He's on our dive team, teaches water survival classes to our recruits and officers with other agencies in the area. But he's accomplished something many people don't know about. I'm going to give everybody a hint. We're going into the Summer Olympics. Okay, we'll tell you. So, Trip was an Olympic swimmer.
I still am an Olympic swimmer.
Yes. And you know what? Don't forget, we'll talk about some of the swimming lessons you've given me in the past, too, so we won't forget about that. But tell us all about that trip. So, you go to college, you go to, was it Tennessee?
I did go to the University of Tennessee, swam there. But I'd back up a little bit before that. When I started swimming when I was 6 months old. Parents threw me in the water. I didn't drown. At the age of 7, I started swimming competitively, but it was when I was 9 and the 1980 Olympics happened and the boycott happened that I told my mom and dad, and we had a local swimmer, Kim Linehan, who didn't get to go. She was a world record holder, didn't get to go to the games. And I told my mom and dad right then and there, I'm going to the Olympics one day. My parents looked at me and said, "Are you crazy?" I guess so, because I believed it.
You're how old?
I'm almost 53.
No, then.
Oh, 9 years old.
Wow, that's a big statement.
9 years old. And 4 years later, 84 games came through in L.A. She did make the team. She got to go, and she finished 4th. And we all know what medal you get for 4th place.
Yeah, zip.
Nothing. You get
right.
bubkas.
You don't even get like a participation medal?
You do get, not a medal. You get a participation certificate that says that you finished 4th, which is basically the kind of thing you hang in your bathroom to remind you of what.
Right.
So when that happened, I'll never forget the picture I saw of her getting off the plane, hugging her dad, and tears rolling down her face. And I told Mom, Dad, said, I'm not just going to the Olympics. I'm going to get the gold medal she didn't get. I was 13. And from that moment on, there's certainly doubts at points in your life but from that moment on, I was totally focused on accomplishing that task.
So let's not get to Tennessee yet, but let's talk about, you're perfectly built for swimming.
I was.
Well, at the time. You still are. But you're like perfectly built, like your torso, like your legs or your hands are like these big mitts.
Yeah.
Did that help you?
It didn't hurt. And I think the body also develops because of the sport that you're doing. My shoulders are broader than my brothers, and I just grew into that sport and grew with the sport. And my body I'm a freak. My inseam's, I'm sure, shorter than yours. And most people
we know. We've had this conversation.
Most people.
You have like really short legs.
Really short legs and super long torso.
Yeah.
My wingspan's 7'3". But I'm only 6'3".
And again, I think God was like, hey, this person's going to be one of the best swimmers ever. So how do you get to Tennessee? Obviously, you drove there, but how did you really get there?
I'm born and raised here in Sarasota, and went through Review High School. So I was a member of the Sharks almost my entire career. And I just came up through the ranks, and it was just step after step after step. I didn't skip a whole bunch of steps. The first time I made nationals, I finished dead last. The next time I came back to nationals, I got second. The first time I made junior nationals, which was a step above that, I came in dead last. The next year I won. And I did each one of those steps progressively, and I learned from my mistakes, I learned from my failures, I learned from my successes as well, and what I needed to do. And I had a laser focus. I had a great work ethic taught to me by my parents, and I knew what I wanted, and I knew how to get it.
So let's talk about that. What is the work ethic like? What's the practice session? Like a lot of sports, hey, you go to class, and after class you have baseball practice or football practice, but swimming's different, right?
First of all, it's not seasonal. It's year-round. You might get 4 or 5 days off at the end of the summer season, right before school starts. From the time I was 13 on, it was 2-a-day practices, at least 4 days a week. And that's, you're getting up at 4 in the morning to get to the pool at 5. You're swimming 5:15 till 6:30. Jet out for school. In middle school, I was able to swim a little bit longer. And then right after school, you're heading to the pool. And you're there until you're done. So it's each day as a kid, I was probably training 14 to 18,000 yards a day. And later on, it obviously went up a little bit. And we definitely overtrained in terms of how much we did. But it was, I needed it. I needed every bit of it.
And that's middle school all the way through high school, right?
And then college. And then beyond. College.
So then you get a scholarship to the University of Tennessee?
I did.
Okay.
I looked at several schools, and just like everybody else, every other kid that goes through the process, you find the one that you think is going to fit you the best. And the team atmosphere at Tennessee, not unlike the team atmosphere and family atmosphere that's here. Sometimes dysfunctional, but we were a great group of people that came together to support each other and in training and beyond. And I fell in love with that at Tennessee almost at first sight, and I knew that's where I wanted to be.
So you're swimming at Tennessee. How does that transition into the Olympics?
So it almost didn't. I also water skied for the Skieries for most of my life, and I got hurt water skiing in 1989, right before my freshman year. Dislocated my shoulder, shredded my arm, and doctors put me back together again, and it was 18 months before I swam again. And I didn't know at that point if my swimming career was going to go. Honestly, when I woke up from the surgery, I had been told that I might lose the use of my arm. You've seen that scar.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got back in, coach that believed in me, and I followed through. And it was by the grace of God that I was able to make the 92 team, because I had the background, I had the base, but I had missed out on 18 months of training. So it was the spring of 1991 that I actually really got back in and trained my butt off that year. And I would say I was a dark horse. I don't think anybody expected anything out of me ever again after getting hurt. And I finished second at trials in 200 back, made the team, and never looked back.
And then when you make an Olympic team like that, is the training get raised to the next level?
I wouldn't say so, because we were already training at that level. In college, our whole group was training at a level same as everybody else in international competition. I was training with some of the greatest swimmers alive at the time, and involved in the sport, and they were awesome training partners. They beat me up a little bit. I beat them up a little bit. I mean, that's and we encourage each other all the time.
Did you ever want to quit?
There were times that I didn't want to be on a particular team when I was little, and I would work myself up so much that I was actually throwing up every day when I got out to go to the pool, and my mom would take me home. But no, I never even considered quitting swimming. I played other sports, I did other things, but swimming was the one thing that I always gravitated back towards. And I just living in Florida, it's hot. Playing soccer, it was fun. It was hot on that field.
Right. The
pool's always like 78, 79 degrees.
So you go to the Olympics. What events do you partake in?
So in 92 Olympics, I swam the 200 back, and I finished fifth. And remember, we talked about what you get for fourth place.
Right.
I got a certificate that had a proud place in my bathroom for a couple of years. And it really, I won't say that it angered me, but I was very disappointed in myself. And there was a gentleman he's no longer with us here from Sarasota that told me if I didn't come home with a medal from those games that I shouldn't even come home. And that resonated with me, and I refocused, became more dedicated than ever, and finished up my career at Tennessee, had a great career there. Moved on to Colorado Springs to train at the U.S. Olympic Training Center. And I had a new education in swimming. I learned everything over. I started from scratch and had the best training I've ever had. Met my wife there as well, and finished first and second. Well, got a gold and a silver in '96. I can't complain about that.
All right, let's talk about what's in that bag that you have in your hand there.
In this bag are my 2 Olympic medals. I got in 1996 on the 7th day of competition, and you've seen them before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where you want to hold them up right there?
Yep, that's the gold medal.
Dun, 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 dun,
And that's a silver medal.
dun, 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 dun.
Believe it or not, they don't play that at the Olympics.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Maybe that was ABC Wide World of Sports.
It was.
Yeah.
It was ABC and NBC played that stuff.
Yeah.
I fully expected walking out to hear that. I 100% expected
like,
to hear that, and I
what?
didn't hear that. They were playing other music. I was like, that's not what I'm supposed to hear.
Yeah.
So,
Well, man, I just want to say thank you for representing us so well at the Olympics. I mean, first and second place. What are the percentage of Americans that are on an Olympic team, and then let alone come with 1 and 2 there?
yeah.
That's a .0001, I'm sure.
It's the odds are there, but it's work and dedication. It's not unlike doing this job. If you have work ethic and you're dedicated to what you do and you care about what you do, you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, no, those are great words. I want to go back to this bag. Everyone see this bag here. So I've known Trip, like I said, for over 20 years, and Trip would come to a camp that I would teach at for little soccer players, and he would come as a guest speaker. And I remember him coming up to talk to these kids a long time ago, and I saw him carrying this bag, and I could hear clink, 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 clink. I'm like, Trip, what is in that bag? He's like, oh, the medals. I'm like, I never would be thinking that would be carrying gold and silver medals in a cloth type bag here, and you pull them out. I would have thought they would have been in like special cases that are sealed. The air has been taken out so they don't tarnish, and I would be like ironing the ribbons that they're on, making sure put starch on them and stuff. But what I love is you're just so matter of fact and you're so real, man.
Well, the medals are just something that I earned. They haven't changed me. They're not who I am. They're just something that I did. Being an Olympian is no, and I get asked this a lot. What's it like to stand on the podium?
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think each and every one of us have moments just like that felt. And it was awesome to stand on the podium and hear the national anthem being played while you're wearing an Olympic medal. Don't get me wrong. But it was just the same exact feeling the day my son and daughter were born.
Right.
When you accomplish that thing that you're working towards your whole life, and it can happen, but there's always that when is it going to work out? When it finally does, and we all have moments like that.
Yeah, and nothing ever came easy to you, Trip. You had your setbacks, right? And you'd come in last place, come back, you'd win it, and then you had your major injury over here. And that wasn't the only challenge you had, right? You had a kidney transplant.
2 weeks before the Atlanta Games, I had a drug test, and the trainer came back and said, everything's good, except you have way too much protein in your urine. I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal. They tested me for that when I was 15. They couldn't figure anything out. He goes, this is a big deal. Went down to training camp in Alabama, and a doctor said, I can't confirm without a biopsy, but I'm 99% sure you have this thing called IgA nephropathy, and it's just a autoimmune thing that I developed. I think it started when I had scarlet fever as a kid, and basically my kidneys scarred themselves. And over years and years of just that one cell kept producing itself, and it scarred them. And at that point, Doc said he estimated I was about 15% kidney function. And I said, try not to worry about it. But a lot of things started making sense. My lactic acid levels had always been off the chart. And just, I'm like, now things start to fall into place. Why I was always felt beat up, but that was also my baseline. Mm-hmm. So I had a pain tolerance, probably unlike most people. But my numbers always threw everybody else's off, because most people's resting lactic acid will be like a 2 or a 3. Mm-hmm. Mine would be a 13. And those guys that I trained with out in Colorado Springs, they would have at workout, they'd get up to maybe a 12 or a 13. I'm going up to 20. So I was off the charts in terms of that. I always threw the studies off, and they could never figure out why. Now we know why. So I got really, really lucky. I got employed here, first of all. A couple years later, confirmed that everything was really going on that I thought was going on. And in 2004, my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, gave me a kidney.
Wow.
She's a perfect match. And
What are the odds?
yeah. What are the odds? The odds are just as high on that as they are on those.
Probably.
And I've been blessed a whole lot in my life.
Yeah, you have, and you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm
right?
doing great. I've been able to work most of the things in this career that I've wanted to. My career's coming to an end at some point here in the next couple of years, but I've enjoyed almost all of it, and I've certainly enjoyed my time working with you and for you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Chat with the Chief. It's time to pack the patrol car for back to school. The Sarasota Police Department school supply drive runs now through August 2nd, and we especially need backpacks this year. Drop off supplies at our station, 2099 Adams Lane, or the Sarasota City YMCA on South Euclid Avenue. Don't have time to swing by? No problem. You can shop our Amazon wish list and the items will ship directly to us. The link is on our website along with a full list of needed school supplies. Let's get our kids ready for back to school. Thanks for your help.
Well, we worked together for many, many years, did a lot of things together. And one of the things that you've really helped me out was I wanted to swim better, right? So growing up in a inner city, I learned how to swim, but probably not the best. And so I remember us going to the pool out at Lido. And I remember you're just like, hey, start swimming, I'll watch you. And so I'm like, okay, he's going to watch me from, the deck of the pool. So I start swimming, and as I'm swimming, I look down, and Trip is underneath me, swimming literally with his back just kind of on the floor of the pool. And he's just looking at me as I'm swimming, and he's swimming faster than I am under the pool. And I'm just like, I don't even know what this guy is. This guy's a machine.
I just had to be able to look at you from that angle, and that's how you can fix things.
You're incredible, man. And you're able to give me a lot of tips that made me a much better swimmer. And to see you in the pool, and I know you don't train like you used to, but I know that you can jump in the pool and put up some of the best times in this PD with people who train all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have it.
I still have that. I don't have it like I used to, thank goodness. I don't want that. The Masters swimmers used to bug me all the time. Oh, come on, I'm done. I've done that. I don't want to compete like that again.
So you're done, but you're really not done, because I know your kids are swimming, right?
Both my kids swim. My son is going to be swimming at Virginia Military Institute next year.
Awesome.
I'm real excited for him. It's a perfect program for him. And my daughter, her swimming career is going to take her wherever she wants it to. So it's she'll swim wherever she wants. If she keeps going the way she's going, they're both great kids. I've been, like I said, how many times can you get blessed? I have two awesome kids, wife that actually puts up with me every day, and
that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
We know
with this job, it's not easy. There's a lot of stress that gets put on families, and I think it benefited us that we were together before we became a cop, and I think that benefited us quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would say being an Olympic swimmer, you could have transitioned into anything, corporate lawyer, doctor, anything you wanted to be, and you chose to work here, so we appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. And how many more years do you have left, Trip?
I have just over 2 left in the drop.
Okay.
Want to keep. Last summer we got to work with the kids up at Robert Taylor, teaching them to swim. I hope we'll get to do that again this year.
Let's do it again this year.
I have a lot of fun, but more importantly to me is giving back and giving that back. I don't ever want to see a kid drown, and it's so important that parents teach their kids water safety and parents learn water safety, because it's a generational thing. If we can teach this generation how to swim and how important water safety is, the next generation won't have to worry about it, because we'll have people that are smarter, and not necessarily smarter, but thinking about those things to keep their kid from falling into a toilet or falling into a lake or walking out through a screen and falling into a pool.
Right. And we're a coastal city, so there's not an excuse for anyone not knowing how to swim.
Absolutely.
Because we could have a hurricane, critical incident could happen, and people need to know how to swim.
Yep.
Are you going to watch the Olympics?
I will. I haven't been back to the Olympics yet, which is kind of bugs me, but I will definitely watch the games. It took about 8 years before I wanted to watch them again, because I still felt the desire to be there. It is the coolest party in the world. It is the biggest spectacle in the world every 4 years, and I was absolutely incredible experiences going there, meeting people, getting to do things that most people can't fathom. And I think I represented this town well. I think I represented the U.S. well, and I wish I'd had 3 gold medals, but
Sure.
it wasn't in the cards. I actually shared something with my father that I never thought would happen, and he actually, after my 100 back, which I finished 5th in 96 games, Dad gave me a hug. I don't think I'd ever had a hug from my dad.
What?
He wasn't a hugger. He wasn't one of those guys that comes up to you and says, I love you, it's okay. But he did, and it totally, I get teared up now thinking about it. But yeah, I shared a moment with my dad, shared moments with my now wife and my mom, and I had an awesome experience. It's something that we should all strive for, something greater than what you have day to day. And if you follow that, if you set a point and you follow it, you can get there. It's not always easy. It was hard all the time.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with setting goals
Absolutely.
and trying to obtain those goals. And even if you come up short, reassess and then go for it again. And I know you say this, I say this all the time to my kids, is you didn't come this far to only come this far. And there's nothing wrong with taking a break, a quick breather, reassess,
Yep.
okay, and put that plan back together, and let's move forward. Whether that's a job, whether that's about your fitness, whether it's about alleviating stress, everyone should have a plan and then execute it.
One of the coolest moments in the Olympics was I elected to go to opening ceremonies both times. And 92, as we're walking out, the dream team slides directly in front of us. I mean, literally, you to me. And what impressed me most was those guys knew who we were. We're swimmers. We don't mean anything. They knew exactly who we were.
That's cool.
They knew what we did. Well, with the exception of Christian Leitner, the team was awesome.
I've heard stories about Christian Leitner. But no, that's awesome, man. Let me ask you this. What is more difficult, swimming in the Olympics or removing a derelict vessel?
On any given day, removing the derelict vessel, because when I swam in competition, you knew exactly what you had to do.
Right.
The variables that come into play when we're trying to lift a vessel out of the water are exponentially. Just we wait for Mr. Murphy to show up. Murphy's Law. Something
Right.
always happens. Something happens in competition too, but when we're trying to lift a vessel, you never know what's going to come at you. And you never know what you might find too. And we try to search these vessels beforehand, make sure there's nothing in there that would be evidence of some kind. But sometimes you lift them up and they fall apart. Sometimes you lift them. We did one a couple weeks ago and it came out perfectly. But it's always a mixed bag because we don't know exactly what we have. When I went into competition, I knew exactly who I was competing against. Mostly it was me. But I knew exactly who I was up against. I knew what they were going to do during the races. And this, it's an unknown. So that's the biggest challenge.
All right. Well, I appreciate you diving into that topic for me.
I love doing it.
Pun intended. The other thing I want to mention to you, Trippy, is in all the years that I've known you, a lot of people have asked you to do things, whether it's come speak at an event or come judge chili cook-offs or whatever the event was, as long as it was for kids or giving back to the community. You've never turned them down.
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
If I have an opportunity, number one, the medals really don't mean that much to me. They mean something to other people. The moment means something to me. The medals are just from that moment. Showing people the medals because it matters to them, whether it's whatever it is. If I can give back, this is my hometown. And it's not just my hometown. People ask for things outside of here too. And it's just part of who I am. I don't know. I feel like if I can give something back to the people, to anybody that needs something, I'll do it. If I can't do it, I can't do it. But if it's something that I can help with, I will.
Well, we always say that you have a heart of gold, and we appreciate it. And the whole thing about the medals just happened in the hallway before we came in here. We had one of our MIS guys walking by, and wanted to see the medals. And we took the medals out, and you would have thought it was like Christmas Day, looking at these medals in awe.
Yeah.
And so you make a great point. We don't get to see these medals as regular people, but as an Olympian, you see it every day and day in and day out. So, and we appreciate all that went into it.
I appreciate what other people get out of it, and that for me is all the reward that I need out of that.
Well, you continue to shine here out of the pool in our agency. You've done a great job for 23 plus years, right?
24 plus.
24 plus years. You've done a great job. We've had a great time together over the course of the years. I love you, buddy.
I love you too. You'd be good.
You're the man.
Thanks, Rex.
And thanks for being on.
Thank you much for having me.
No, my honor. And as always, remember to live, love, work, and play in our city, because we love it just as much as you do. Have a great day.